All right, we live.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom Show with B. Lee and A. Johnny. As y'all know, we go live every Sunday, noon Eastern Time, right here on the GOAT James Kingdom channel on YouTube. So please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the ring notification as we will continue to bring you guys more content. Also, check out our membership in GOAT James Kingdom as we will be providing special perks for all our members. As you know, we have the merchandise with the shirts and the hats, but we also going to be providing you guys graphs. If you guys want personal graphs and wall covers, backdrops, whatever you like, we'll be able to help you out with that. Also, we're going to be making videos for you guys. If you guys want videos, if you're a member of the group, we can talk about that. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to the GOAT James Kingdom at gmail.com or GOAT James Kingdom Show at gmail.com. Either one of those two emails will allow you to reach Brandon and I, and we'll be able to speak to all our members about all the different perks and what's available to you. So make sure you check that out. And also shout out to all our Facebook members, everybody that's on our TikTok and Instagram accounts. Shout out to all our social media platforms and everybody that support us here. As you know, we're going to continue to drop the bomb on the GOAT conversation. We got Brandon, Craig, and Chad is in the building, y'all. Shout out to Twin Man, who's already in the comments. What's good, y'all? Make sure to hit the like buttons and share the content. Today's show, we're going to talk about the top 50 the top 10 players by decade, right? We're going to, obviously, it's going off of our criteria and the list that we have. So it's going to be based off of their careers, and we're going to have a great conversation about that. So what's good, gentlemen? How y'all feeling this Sunday afternoon?
What's good, everybody?
It's Sunday, not football yet, so.
It's not football. It was some games on yesterday. There was some good games on yesterday.
My Jets looking good.
You're a Jets fan, right? My wife is excited as well. She's like, yes, the Jets, the Jets, the Jets.
Only smart one in the house.
I don't pay attention to no preseason. It's just games that don't exist in my mind.
Especially now, right? It's only 3 games now. So the next games nobody's gonna play, right? It's gonna be all.
No, it's done. The season. The next game's the season.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
That's it. It's done. Oh yeah, I'm doing my fantasy draft next Friday, the 1st. So the Jets ain't winning nothing. There goes your loyal Jordan lover, your companion there, Craig, talking about your Jets.
Listen, you can have disagreements. We don't gotta agree on 100% of the things. But I don't expect every Jordan fan to be a Jets fan. So
you too smart to be a Jets fan. Same thing with my wife.
Nah, I've been a Jets fan since '97.
Wow. Oh, that was Curtis Martin days, right?
That's when they got Keyshawn Johnson with the #1 draft pick. That's Bill Parcells.
Okay. Well, we do basketball here at GOAT James Kingdom, and we do basketball like none other. And so, for everybody who's going to be enjoying their Sunday, this is going to be our second season going up against Football Sunday, right, Brandon? We're gonna see how we do. We'll see how much y'all love football compared to basketball, because we definitely gonna be doing our show every noon on Sunday, even when football season starts. Well, for Brandon, it's different.
Don't stop because of football.
Yeah, that's true. But Brandon is a little bit different because he's on the Mountain West Coast time, so it's like you guys watch football in the morning. Like you guys wake up to football. That's a little bit different. How do you guys tailgate? You guys tailgate at 6:00 in the morning? Or
that's when it started because they had to tailgate so early.
Shoot.
I mean, we still come on at the same time, and the games here it starts at noon. It's just the later game for y'all.
Oh, that's true. Your games, yeah, that's true. Like the games, like that's true. Kansas City. You don't have the same time zones as Kansas City, no? It's different time. Different time.
They're I don't even know. I think we might be on the same.
Yeah, your hours are the same half of the year with California and then not with California, correct? That's what
yeah.
All right, so you're probably an hour different from Kansas City, but either way.
Yeah, our time do not change, so our time stay the same in Mountain Time. It stay the same.
Yeah, see, they didn't even teach us that in school. Never knew that shit. So I met Brandon. Never knew that shit. So But anyways, let's
It
get
was
this.
recent that they changed that, right? Because now they was voting to see if they're gonna make it permanent. When we kill the daylight saving, when we keep the daylight savings times as a permanent thing, where nobody go forward or backwards.
I mean, it should. I don't see the reason for it.
Well, yeah, but especially when they do it when the kids go back to school and they're getting out 3 o'clock and it's pitch black outside.
It literally don't make any sense. So,
Yeah, well, I think it started for farming purposes, obviously agricultural reasons, but we're not an agricultural society anymore, so I agree. But let's get to basketball talk. What up, Travis? Thanks for joining us. We got Travis here.
So, gentlemen.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna talk about the top 10 players from each decade based off of our criteria in our list, our top 50 list, the GOAT James Kingdom top 50 greatest players. To start off with the 50s, we didn't have 10 players from the 50s that we actually graded, but the guys who were in the 50s was Bob Pettit, Bob Cousy, Dolph Shaves, Paul Arison, Bill Sharman, and I believe there was somebody else that I'm missing. It's 6 guys basically that were a part of the 50s. I don't know.
George Mikan?
Oh yeah, George Mikan. I'm sorry. There you go, George Mikan. That's the guy. So George Mikan's in there as well. Yeah. So those were the 6 guys for the 50s. As we all know, not too much known about the 50s. There's not too much records of it as far as video. But those guys are the legends of that era. They're all top 75 greatest players of all time as well on the all 75 team. So those are those guys. But we can go right to the other guys, starting off with the 60s. We have Wilt Chamberlain, obviously, Bill Russell, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Elgin Baylor, Sam Jones, Willis Reed, Walt Bellamy, Hal Greer, and Nate Thurman. So let's start off with Chad. Are you there, Chad? You've been kind of quiet. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
That's good. What's good? So what do you think of this? Jerry West ended up being the 3rd best guy in the 60s as far as career rank. Definitely behind Bill and Wilt. That would be common to you, right? But what do you think of the 60s?
Looks pretty good to me. Mike West in the 70s.
Who?
How come West isn't in the 70s too?
Because he did play 5 seasons, or wait, no, yeah, 5 seasons in the 70s. So that would be half the decade. He could be there as well. I mean, if you want to put him in there, you would, I guess, take out Unseld. He can
probably be 3rd in the 70s too, right?
Yeah, he'll be right behind Dr. J. Yep.
Yeah,
as far as career-wise. Now, mind you, it's not great about what they did for that decade. It's still for their overall career. So he'll still score 3rd overall if we put him in the 70s as well. I mean, can we put Wilt Chamberlain? Wilt Chamberlain
and no love for Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete. You know what? Guess out of all the players that we ranked that I did, guess who's the only player that had less points ranked than Gilbert Arenas? That was Pistol Pete. Pistol Pete just didn't have he had a 10-year stretch as a basketball player. He had a good 4 or 5 year stretch, but he was injured the last part of his career, and he didn't make the playoffs at the end of his career, so he didn't really get too many playoff numbers. So it really hurt him. His playoff, he barely has any playoff numbers. He basically
won a title.
he went to the playoff 4 times when he first started. He only won 1 playoff series out of that, and that was really it. That's why. So that's what kind of hurt Pistol Pete. But that's why, again, on Friday's show, we were talking about a criteria, and Brandon was talking about that. It's trying to figure out how to judge players, not basically just off of their career, but also their ability as far as being a better player. So how can we judge, Pistol Pete's skill and his ability as part of being one of the greatest players ever? But that's a good thing there.
Well, everybody on this list from the 70s up learned how to dribble a basketball from Pistol Pete, man, and how to pass. Still to this day.
Yeah, he was a pioneer in ball carrying and dribbling. Yes, indeed, he was. Shout out to everybody in the comments. But he did score less. To be honest with you, he doesn't have much accolades, achievements. Overall, for his, he would count his college career and stuff like that. Then he's a Hall of Famer, and he's recognized in the NBA. So he's in the 75th anniversary team.
Pistol Pete was great. It's just his NBA career compared to others because of a short period of time and injuries.
Yeah, it's because of
That
injuries.
eye test kicking in.
Ain't got nothing to do with eye test there. I think everybody's eyes tell the same
They
thing on
just
that.
told you why
Day.
he didn't make the list, and you talk about, yeah, he dribbled. That has nothing to do with what you
Uh-oh.
actually contributed.
They literally still use his videos to teach kids how to dribble basketballs, bro. It's got nothing to do with the eye
Do you
test.
see the videos of him having at school say, "Hey, this is how you do this"?
Yes,
Did you?
look him up, bro. Quit talking shit and look him up.
Hey,
There
they
was
just
there
told you what
was
his
there
stats
was a
was. and
there
you
was
talk
a
about an
Red
eye test.
Auerbach there was a Red Auerbach video in the 80s. I believe it was the 80s or late 70s that they did make a video on dribbling and he did use
I
he did
think
use Pistol
Craig
Pete.
is talking about today.
Yeah, not today. Yeah, I don't know about today.
Craig talking about today.
They're not using Pistol Pete dribbling
Yes,
skills.
they still use Pistol Pete's methods, man, on how to fundamentally
because
teach them
they
how to
learned-
dribble a basketball. Yes, they do.
So he's top 10 because he knew how to dribble a basketball.
It's got
That's
nothing
what
to
you're
do with him being top 10, man. I just asked why he ain't getting no love in the 70s, dude. What are you talking about? We're not talking about the top 10 greatest players of all time. Nothing
No,
was
we
said about
talking
that.
about top 10 of the decade. Do you not read what it say? You
Yes,
asking
I
why no
believe that
love?
he was a top 10 of the decade.
Wow.
It's
Well,
the
I mean,
same.
all right. So let's. I guess we.
I mean,
all right.
where you didn't want to put Dr. J in there unless you count his ABA, half them people on that list right there, it's ABA.
Hey, Brandon, you see the comments? Liddy says Chris Webber would have better numbers in the 90s than Scottie Pippen. Yo, these dudes be smoking crack. I don't know what crack these dudes be smoking. They talk about me smoking. These people are hilarious. All right, let's move on. Let's move on because the whole thing with Pistol Pete is it is nostalgia based to a certain degree. So, Craig, what do you think of the 60s guys? I mean, it's a small list. It's only 8 teams, like you say, right? There's only 8 players. It's not that many players. That's what y'all always say.
No, I don't always say that. I just said it was, if you had a great team in the 60s, 10 times out of 10, you go win.
Bill Russell. I.E. Bill Russell. Travis, what's up?
Well, I mean, the list, I had no problem with the 60s list. This is pretty much, yeah.
All right. Travis, what do you think of these guys? Are you familiar with the 60s players? Is there anybody we missing?
I mean, I'm familiar with these players. I mean, it's a great list, especially if we're using the other criteria that we established there on the other list. But, I mean, it's pretty much a lot of the names that we'd expect, especially near the top. I mean, Will Russell, Jerry. A lot of these decades, obviously they bleed into each other. But, yeah, as far as, their individual primes especially, I mean, we'll discuss that a little bit later for the 80s, but I mean, for the 60s and 70s, yeah. I mean, especially Kareem, and it probably wasn't even that close. Dr. J, but yeah, just dominant. I think both these decades, especially the 70s, get slept on a little bit as far as just the people who were in there just putting up huge numbers every day. But it's a good list so far.
That's what's up. All right, Brandon. I know
they just had competition with the ABA in the 70s, so it was split.
Well, for sure.
and it was a different style of basketball, so many different rules.
Yeah.
It was just a different game back then. Brandon, I know you appreciate the 60s for what it was, and what do you think of these legends? Like, if this was like a team, you think this would be a good team to run against the other decades?
No, of course, the top 5 is all-time greats. Baylor, Oscar, West, Russell, and Wilt. Like, that's probably easily one of the top 4 teams ever if those was on the same team compared to their decade. But seems like the media puts Oscar Robertson. That's like one thing there that West heard. I know ESPN had them as basically number Big O was number 9 or something in their top 10. Going back to what Chad was saying about Pistol Pete, I could understand because in the 70s he was definitely one of the top 10 players in the 70s. I don't know. It seems like if we did it by decades, it would be different, but we're not doing it by decades. We're just doing it by their score. So if though we did it by decades, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what makes our criteria great, Brandon.
Yeah.
We can actually do that. Like we could take all the stats for just the 70s and see who had
Yeah.
the best stats during the 70s. Like you know what I'm saying, and the best accomplishments during the 70s. That would be another great show and another great thing that we can do, which is another great reason why our criteria is so great because it is so adaptive to breaking down the stats and the accolades. What up, Ralph?
Yo, what's happening? What's going on?
What's good, man? You
Yeah.
joined right on time. You joined right on time. Hey, talk about
Yeah. I've been listening in.
on Ralph's live
Yeah.
yesterday, they were going in on me about Big O because they were saying that Big Oscar Robinson should be actually better than Magic Johnson because of the numbers. And they were trying to do the Mortal Kombat thing, going one-on-one stuff, but they couldn't understand how Magic Johnson just had a more illustrious career. And he was saying because of the winning, he was saying you're basically giving Magic Johnson accomplishment for team winning. And they were mad because I didn't want to give Wilt Chamberlain a knock for not making the playoffs in '63. It was a long conversation, but it was go ahead.
Said they was trying to knock Oscar Robertson. I mean, for not, I don't understand. Like they're saying that Oscar Robertson was only not better than Magic because of winning.
No, that's what they were. No, what happened was they were saying that they knocked Wilt Chamberlain because Wilt Chamberlain wasn't in their top 10 because he missed the playoff in his prime in 1963. Like that was one of like a reason to keep him out. Plus all the other little silly reasons that they have about Wilt Chamberlain. But they were like making that a big factor. Like, damn, you're in your prime and you couldn't take a team to the playoffs in an 18 league. Like, how really impactful was your stats? Were you really that dominant with your stats? That's what they were trying to say. But then I brought up like how.
So they said he couldn't make the playoffs in an 8-team league.
Yeah. Listen.
Do they realize what they're saying?
Yeah. I mean, listen. It was that's what the conversation started. So what he was trying to say was, if I'm not willing to knock a player for the team not being able to get to the playoffs, then I shouldn't credit players for the team winning. So Magic Johnson having finals, league MVPs, which is most likely because of winning, it shouldn't be counted over Oscar Robertson. Him having the 5 championships shouldn't be counted over Oscar Robertson because Oscar Robertson has more All NBAs. He has more points. He has more rebounds. So it was like all of these things, like you know what I'm saying. Like that's what he was saying. But I was like, the overall career of Magic was just
overall career, yeah.
That's
and
what he was saying. Yeah,
and just going back to
it wasn't that much. So it wasn't that much. Yeah,
and just go back to the 8 team. Like do they realize it's harder to make the playoffs with 8 teams than 30 teams? Do they understand that common sense stuff?
Bro, it was a long conversation. Lowe's a good guy. Shout out to Lowe. He actually did a great job, Ralph. I don't know if you was paying attention. He did a great job running your live yesterday. It was a great conversation, bro. But like I said, most people are not used to me. I understand it. I come up with my own stuff, and most people don't like that, but it's fine. But we had a great conversation. I was just trying to explain to them. But Oscar Robertson, obviously, we all know is a great player. He had a great career. He sued the league to be a free agent, obviously, because the team he played for wasn't, I guess he felt was doing enough to help him win. He wanted to leave the team well before he could. And eventually he won the case and he was able to leave and go to play somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it is what it is, though. But, Ralph, what do you think of the 60s guys? We just started. What do you think of the guys that are in the top 10, 60s?
The 60s?
Yeah, these are the 60s based off of the top 50 greatest players that we did, our GOAT James Kingdom top 50 greatest players and where they sit at. So this is the 60s players right here. You got Will, Russell, Wes, Oscar, Baylor, Sam Jones, Willis Reed, Walt Bellamy.
I will have Russell first.
Okay.
I will have Russell first.
I mean, Russell is the man.
He was just dominant in the 60s, you know. I mean I know Will, his numbers was phenomenal, but Bill Russell's numbers was phenomenal as well. So when I look at both of them being phenomenal, what translated into the winning part, and Russell's numbers translated more into winning. So that's why I would give the notch to Russell. But it is close. I'm not saying it's like a big gap or anything, but I think Bill Russell would be first.
That was a part of the conversation we was having yesterday, was the impact on winning. And how do you judge that too? Because that's what he was saying. He was like, if you're going to give players credit for winning, you have to give them the same credit for losing. And that was the conversation. So, all right. So let's move on to the next round. We was already talking about the 70s. For me, I like the 60s of this. One thing I noticed with the 60s of this is there's 5 centers here. So that shows people when they say, you know, obviously there wasn't great centers in that era. Now, mind you, the only ones that were above 6'10" was Wilt Chamberlain. Out of these guys, Walt Bellamy was 6'9", Reed was 6'8", and I think Thurman was also 6'9" or 6'9".
No, Willis Reed was 6'9".
Willis Reed was 6'9". Okay, none of them were
Yeah.
over 230, 240. Most of them were 225, 215. So, but again, they did have some great centers. They had some other great ones. We were talking about that yesterday on your live too. So we'll move on to the 70s, and we got Kareem, Dr. J, Hundo. Now Hundo is another guy that we could put in the 60s and the 70s, but I decided to put him in this 70s, like I did with West. Just put him in.
Good
the 70s.
choice.
But you got Artis Gilmore, Elvin Hayes, Walt Frazier, Rick Barry, Dan Issel, Cowens, and Unseld. Now remember, this does count the ABA careers, so that's why you got guys like Unseld and Gilmore here, and obviously Dr. J. So let's start with you, Chad. I know you said what's his name should be in there. What do you think of these guys? I know you said Pistol Pete should be there. But what do you think of these guys? And who should be taken out for Pistol Pete? Chad. Are you alive, Chad? You're supposed to be a part of the GOAT James Kingdom panel, Chad. Craig, let's move on to you. What up? What up, Craig? What do you think of these guys?
I couldn't get my damn mic to unmute, man. Hold on. It's Cowens I take out. I'm not taking Unseld out.
Cowens? Yeah, Dave Cowens. He actually scored high. He has an MVP. He has 2 championships, and I think he has a Finals MVP. I mean, I may be incorrect there, but Cowens is a funny guy because he was a coach too, right?
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
the 80s.
All right. So, but what do you think of the guys in the 70s,
The
including
90s.
their ABA and the ABA careers?
I mean, I'm fine with that in the ABA, but that's, everybody else seems to have a problem with that in the ABA, and that's kind of where I was like, you're not going to put Pistol Pete in there, but, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, again,
I mean, even Rick Barry wasn't completely in the NBA the entire 70s.
Well, mind you, I made sure to do Pistol Pete before we did this show to make sure to see if he would reach the top 10. He just didn't do it. Like I said, unfortunately, injuries got the best of his potential. What we know is his greatness. So we got you, Chad. We got you. We know you're gonna fight hard for your guys. So we're gonna let you fight for Pistol Pete a little bit later. Craig, what you think of these guys?
I mean, like I said, the 70s was that time where you had multiple basketball organizations running at the same time. So,
do you think the NBA style of play was better than the ABA, or which one you think was better?
Hell no.
So which one was better? Which style of play
The
was
ABA
better?
was better. They just didn't have the popularity of the NBA to stay alive. I bet you if the NBA would have merged with the ABA and it has just been the ABA with the NBA, then the whole league would be a whole lot different than it is now.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That's an interesting take. Oh man, yeah, I like that. What do you think of that, Travis? What do you think of the 70s, man?
Again, it's a good list, I think. I mean, there's a couple names. Obviously, you can't include everyone that was good, but solid list. I mean, I can see a world where they have like Bob McAdoo in there, maybe Lanier, things like that, because they were all beasts, especially McAdoo. But he wasn't officially in the NBA until '73. But he had 3 scoring titles. He was dropping 3 points a game, but I mean, it's still good criteria. But it's I can see where some people get strained out. But there's a couple interchangeable names in there, maybe like Dan Issel. But I mean, I can see where the criteria we're using would have some people rise to the top. But those are really just a couple names I'd maybe throw in there if we're just looking for guys who came to work each night, punch that clock, weren't necessarily guys who won like tons of rings, but they were there doing work.
Yeah, I mean, as far as McAdoo, he was just outside the top 10. Before him, you would have Gervin, Lanier, and then it would have been McAdoo. And like I said, Unseld just was a late addition to all of this. So Unseld kind of jumped into the top 10. But yeah, those guys were actually great. And again, basketball wasn't televised then. The ABA wasn't televised as far as they didn't have a TV contract at all. So the only time you saw the ABA was actually if you went to an ABA game, and then you only got the books and the records
So
What happened?
George Garvin wouldn't have made the 70s or 80s either.
Yeah, well, he just missed out of the 70s, and he definitely wasn't going to make the 80s. He's just behind Worthy and just behind Unseld. So, but the NBA as well, they did have a TV contract, but we all know it was tape delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was only like the main teams. It wasn't even like the whole season. Like, you know what I'm saying? You didn't, so
Mhm.
you didn't get playoff games too, like that too. So, it's a little bit different though. So, Ralph, what's good, man? You the ABA aficionado, brother. What do you think of these guys and the 70s in general?
I'll take out Cowens and put in Mel Daniels.
Yeah, I remember you told me about Mel Daniels.
Mel Daniels, he's a 3-time champ, 2-time MVP. He got a Finals MVP. I mean, no, he had I believe he has a.
Yeah, no, he has a playoff MVP because they used to give out playoff MVPs. It was a playoff MVP.
Yeah,
I saw something recently on Mel Daniels on NBA TV. But go ahead.
Yeah, Mel Daniels, he was like a top tier player in the ABA as well. Like, of course, we know the face was Dr. J, but you had like Hayward, you had Mel Daniels, you had Roger Brown, you had a lot of those players that were top tier that didn't get the recognition like the ABA did. The only ones they really knew was like, I mean, you got even Connie Hawkins that played in the ABA as well. But definitely I would put Mel Daniels in that top 10 if we count an ABA over Dave Cowens.
Yeah, we definitely have to do an ABA show for real to bring out some of these people that like, man.
Oh yeah,
maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do that on a Friday night exposure, or maybe not. We'll do it on Go James Kingdom, depending on how it works.
Yeah, we can do it on Go James. There's no problem with that.
That's there, man. That's good. That's good talk, Ralph. We love that. There go Ralph, y'all. Ralph Alexander 65, y'all. Straight off TikTok, the TikTok beast.
Wilder's in top 10, Ralph. There we go.
What happened? Will is at 11. I got him at 11. I mean, it's an argument. It's an argument him being in the top 10. There's no doubt about it. I'm very objective with my list because I have changed it because I've heard other arguments within when I have a certain player there, and then next thing you know it, two people debating, and I'm like, this guy making a real good point. So it makes me switch up my list. I mean, I'm not very stubborn and be like, this is my list, this is how it's going to be. I'll change it if you can make a very valid argument.
The Ralph Carousel.
But that one don't change, though.
That number one don't change.
That number one don't change.
And Ralph's top 10 is like
number one don't change, but the guy at 11 does the same thing. That's cool.
That's hard. It's hard. That's hard. That's funny. Well, yeah, go ahead. Say that again, Chad.
So I said that one don't change, but the guy that's got at 11 basically did the same thing as what the guy at number one did. But
no, not really. Not really.
Yeah, really.
They value different things. They value different things. All right. So, Brandon, I know the 70s is always tough. Brandon and I was trying to figure out how do we grade players that played in the 70s and the 60s. What do you think of the top 10 list and the guys who from the 70s and how they made our list?
I mean, it's cool. The 60s and 70s about right. The 60s and 70s, I don't have too much problems with those. Most of them play majority of their careers in those decades. It's just when you get to the 80s on, we got players who played in multiple decades, and the grading system is probably different for those players.
It
like for instance, like Jordan is second in the 80s, and he's definitely not second in the 80s.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Yeah, again, this is not based off of what you did for the decade, just off of
I know.
overall career.
Yeah,
but let's do this. All right, so we say West could be 60s and 70s, Hundos could be 60s and 70s. Can Oscar Robertson be 60s and 70s? He played the same amount of years as West.
Yeah,
but West was more impactful in the 70s. I mean,
Oscar was basically the 60s. He was the most dominant in the 60s.
All right, Willis Reed, and Thurman were drafted mid 60s, and they did play into the 70s. Would they be into that double decade type of thing, or what
I
Wilt
think-
Chamberlain? Because Wilt
I
Chamberlain
would
played
say
in
you would have
'73.
to play at
I
least
think
5
Willis
years in
Reed.
that decade.
5 years.
I think
Okay.
Willis Reed could be in the 70s. I mean,
He won 2 championships in the '70s. So,
yeah, like
He's
that's
known
what
for
I'm
the
saying.
70s.
Like,
He's basically known
yeah.
for the 70s.
but I think he was drafted '63, if I'm correct. He drafted 1963. If I could be wrong, but I know he was drafted around that time. So, but yeah, some players do overlap decades, right? Because even the same thing, like Kareem overlaps into the '80s. Dr. J overlaps into the '80s.
Overlap. He played what 8 seasons in the '80s.
That's what I'm saying. They overlap. I'm saying their career overlaps. George Gervin's career overlaps into the '80s. So
If
let's
you
see. Let's,
wasn't drafted at the beginning of the decade, but 9 times out of 10 you're gonna overlap in another decade.
that's true.
Just-
But Kareem was drafted in 1970, right, or 1969. So he played his first year was 1970. Dr. J was drafted the next year, 1971. So that's like deep. That's early.
almost in the NBA too. He
Yeah.
almost was in the
Yeah.
NBA.
Yeah, so but then we'll get right to the '80s. So obviously Kareem is number one because of his overall career. We got Jordan, we have Magic, Dr. J, Bird, Moses Malone, Robert Parrish, Isaiah Thomas, McHale, and James Worthy.
Mm.
There goes James Worthy, the famous James Worthy guy. So let's start with you, Chad. You got your mic ready? Say no, Dominique Wilkins. Yeah, Dominique Wilkins did not make it. Dominique Wilkins was another one of those players that just scored low. His playoff numbers, and he basically
Criminal.
he was all he really did was score. So, but so Dominique should be in the top 10 in the '80s.
15.
I know I don't even know if he's top 15. Wow, because he didn't make the top 75.
Which is shocking.
Yes.
Well, I mean, never mind. Yeah, whose turn is that? Sorry.
No, but go ahead,
80s
Chad.
alone, he should be top 10, I think.
Dominique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
Remember,
would you
it's not-
take out, Brandon?
I mean,
How is Jordan 2 over Magic in the 80s?
Well, are these?
I agree with.
I was going to ask, are these in order?
No, these are in order based on their career on our top 10, on our top 50 greatest players. We haven't ranked them by their career yet. Now, again, we can do it. This
Okay.
is these are basically where everybody landed on our top 50 greatest list by the decades. Last week we did by the positions. Today we're doing by the
that
decades.
now.
That's fair.
No, I mean, yeah, we can do that now. All we have to do is crunch up the numbers. We just have to find out what's the like the most points scored in the '80s, the most rebounds of the '80s, the most assists of the '80s, the most MVPs of the '80s.
Well, that'll be a little more extensive, but let's go. Let's like wing it. Let's wing it and do it right now, and then
Okay.
y'all can
All
crunch the numbers, and we can
All
come
I
back
know
with
is-
another
All
show
right.
with it.
So the number. All right. So the number one. So
players on this on the top 10 in the '80s, and only 5 teams represent these 10 players.
Well, there were only 23 teams.
He said 5 teams out of all. Yo, I just realized I see what Craig's saying. He's saying only 5 teams out of the top 10 players.
Not even 5 teams. It's the Lakers, the Bulls, the Sixers, and the Celtics and the Pistons. That's it.
3 or 4.
You got
got the
3
Lakers.
players on
That's
one
crazy.
team.
The Lakers, the Celtics, the 76ers,
All right,
the Pistons.
So let's start with
and the
this.
Bulls.
Who's the number one guy of the '80s? Who's the greatest player of the '80s?
Kareem.
Magic.
Probably
Bird
Bird.
got an argument.
Bird.
Magic.
I'll say Bird.
I'd say Bird.
Remember, Magic.
I
only
gotta go with
played
Magic.
the '80s. And
I'm
look what
gonna
he
go with
did.
Magic.
Like,
I'm gonna go
y'all
with
can
I gotta
go
go with Magic. I gotta go with Magic.
Chad,
gotta
Magic
go with
Bird,
Magic.
1 and 2. 1 and 2, that's simple. Magic
that's
Bird,
Magic
1
Bird.
and 2.
Chad, who you got? Magic or Bird? I think Chad got Bird.
Magic.
You got Magic. Okay, all right. So it's Magic. All right, so
Magic.
Magic Bird 1 and 2. So after that, is it Kareem or is it Moses? Is it Dr. J?
Yes.
It's Kareem. It's Kareem.
The Cream, Dr. J.
I'd probably put Moses.
I'll put Moses above Dr. J.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah,
too.
I agree. I agree.
So all right, so the top 5 would be Magic, Bird, Kareem, Moses, Dr. J.
I mean, I'd put Moses ahead of Kareem, and just for individual statistical during the majority of the 80s. I mean, because Kareem's last great year was what, like
87.
83, 84, where he was actually dominant.
It's 87.
Like 87.
Yeah.
I mean, but he didn't have better numbers than Moses that year.
No,
Well,
not
but
80s to
No,
you know,
70s.
but
he
if
did
you,
win. He did win 5 titles in the 80s.
Yeah,
that's
that's what I'm saying. But I mean, we're
that's
talking
probably
statistically.
why. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had one MVP.
overall,
He won. He was
What are you
all
talking about?
defensive
Moses
selections.
took a team that was under 500 to the finals. That should supersede everything Kareem did, right?
Well,
nah.
they won 40 something games. He took
Yeah,
Houston.
Ralph ain't gonna say that because
To
you
the
got
finals twice.
216 lurking.
They was
Yeah.
40 and 42 when they went to the finals.
And I'm the biggest James Worthy fan in the world, but I can see a world where he's superseded for like Dom Wilkins, Hakeem,
And that's spelled
Robinson.
Kale.
Yeah. Okay.
There,
Now.
there was
Oh,
a
go
lot
ahead.
of players individually better than Worthy because he was the third option.
Yeah,
I think
he's my favorite player of all time. But
I think he's right where he's supposed to be right now.
Not the third option talk. Brandon brought up the third option talk. He was the third option.
oh god,
I think Worthy's right where he's supposed to be right there.
Now we could do. You know what? Akeem is a good thing because Akeem can be a dual decade guy. He can be for the 80s as well. He
I mean,
could be top 10.
he played half the year in the 80s. Half his
yeah.
He was
Hey,
great.
His career is
He played
weird.
as much as Jordan did. He played just
Yeah,
as much as
because
Jordan
his
did in the
best
80s.
numbers is in the 80s. To be honest with you,
And he
I
made
mean-
he made the finals in the 80s.
Yeah,
his second year.
Yeah.
like what was his best numbers? Like 89, 90, and like, but he was winning chips at like 94, 95, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. When the league was weaker.
that's he actually got a whole lot better during that time because
His
he
footwork
was-
is a lot better.
I mean, he always had the footwork, even when he was in college with Clyde Drexler. But the thing is, he learned how to play the game a whole lot better, to where it made him even a better player in the '90s. That's the reason why you see those championships
Yep.
in those '90s.
It's true.
I mean, so
Yeah.
we have the top 5. Who's number 6?
I would go
Mikhail.
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas.
I'll go with Zeke, and then Mikal.
MC Kale.
I would go
All
Zeke,
right.
Mikal.
Who's 8?
So basically, if you're using the
Parrish?
top 5 of the top 75 list, you're going to have your name on 2 decades, I see.
I'll say Dr. J behind.
No, I'll take. Listen, I'll
Dr. J was
take.
5, I thought.
I'll take the blame for any player that's not on separate decades. I decided arbitrarily. I didn't make anything up. I just figured how we
Yeah, 'cause
normally.
Akeem could have been 80s and 90s. West could have been 60s, 70s. You have Shaq that could have been 90s and 2000s.
Yes, I did. I tried to stay away from that to give some players recognition. Players like Worthy, Unseld, Thurman.
I appreciate
mean?
the Ewan love though.
Yeah, exactly. Like Ewing. You know what I mean? Some of these guys would get knocked off, and then we would just be basically just recognizing the same players decade per decade. So I try to separate as much as possible. But you're not.
But it
wrong.
shows that greatness,
You're not
though.
wrong.
It shows that
We
greatness
also
though.
missing
If they on
Gervin.
double.
We also missing Gervin in the 80s.
Yeah, Gervin. Yeah, Gervin could be in the
Yeah.
80s as well.
I would
And
put
the
him over
70s.
Dominique in the 80s.
Okay,
Can we get some Alex
Yeah.
English?
I agree. I
Now
agree
that's-
with. I agree
how's
with
it- Mhm.
Brandon.
Now I
Gervin
didn't do
over Dom.
Alex English and Adrian Dantley. They're actually the next players on my list. The next players I'm actually going to be grading will be Clay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Alex English, and Adrian Dantley. And then I also got to do Joe Dumars and some other players. We're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is what makes our criteria so great, y'all. We could really measure these players and show how great they've been for their career.
I'm curious about the Dantley because Dantley is underrated, I think.
I did Penny Hardaway, and Penny Hardaway actually scored better than Kevin Love and Vince Carter. Actually, you know what?
Penny- Penny's a beast.
I did
So
do Klay
what-
Thompson. Klay Thompson actually scored just a little bit lower than Vince Carter. They scored in they're not in the top 75. To be in the
Wait a
top
minute.
75, you have to score over 24 points. But I did do Klay Thompson. I'm sorry, I have his numbers here now that I'm looking.
So what was the top 5 in the '80s again?
It was
Magic.
Kareem,
Magic,
Magic Bird, Kareem,
Right.
Dr. J.
Moses,
Moses,
then
then
Dr.
Dr.
J.
Yeah, Moses then Dr. J. Yeah.
Then
Uh-huh.
Isaiah
I say
Thomas was number
I,
6. We said.
I would put Dr. J a little lower and put Jordan in there.
What?
Dr.
Jordan-
Yeah,
J was
Dr. J
Dr.
wasn't.
J
He
in
started the
the
decline in the '80s. He
Yeah, but
started the
Jordan didn't play
decline.
till
Jordan
85.
didn't play that. Yeah, Dr.
Yeah,
J in the 80s has more first team all NBAs than Jordan's. Both of them got a MVP, but Dr. J has a title.
And the best record in the whole 80s for 1980.
Yeah. So Dr. J definitely did more in the 80s than Jordan.
Yeah. Now, but Jordan, so should Jordan be number 7 then, right after Isaiah Thomas?
I think so.
yeah.
So more than the second. So those second options are out of there. McHale, Parrish, Worthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I'll actually
Yeah.
put Gervin as number 8, then
What
Kevin
about-
McHale number 9.
Yeah, Kevin McHale. Well, Kevin McHale came off the bench for a good part of his early part of the 80s.
You saying Gervin at 8? So who you taking out, Brandon?
Worthy. And
What about David Thompson over Worthy?
Nah.
Man, that's another guy I
David-
kind of did too. Yeah, David.
David-
And going back to Bird and Magic, Bird has 9 All NBA first teams in the 80s to 7 for Magic. Bird got 3 MVPs to 2 for Magic. Magic got 3 Finals MVPs in the 80s. Bird got
yeah.
2. Magic got 5 titles, and Bird got 3. So that's
It's
why I
close.
picked. Yeah, it's close. I still
It's
pick
close.
Bird over.
I think it's
Over Magic.
interchangeable for me.
What about
It's
seasonal
interchangeable.
And don't
What about
forget the
season
9
titles?
9 finals appearances. That's for you, Greg. The 9 finals appearances. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say
I said wins. Yeah.
I think Bird.
It was
I
8.
think
I'm sorry. It was 8
Bird
finals
and,
appearances in the 80s. 8. It was 8.
I think Bird and Magic is interchangeable for 1 and 2. I wouldn't be mad who picks what because it's so close with those two.
Yeah.
It really is.
Now,
Because you
whoever
got
got the
Bird
most
that
teammates
back to
on
back
this list
50,
is
40,
number 2.
90.
Whoever
got him
got the
50,
most
40.
teammates on the 80s list is number 2 then. How about that?
No,
You know,
they both got
Bird-
2 teammates. They both got 2 teammates. It's Worthy of Kareem and Parrish and McHale. They got
Because, I mean, you look at Bird, he's got the back-to-back 50, 40, 90 years. And then you got Magic with the seasonal titles, like Chad said. So that's why I say, it's very interchangeable for those two to be the top. So I
What
won't
if
be
there's a player
mad.
that got both?
I choose Magic, but if you said Bird over Magic, I'm not even mad about it.
I say Magic because he beat him in college.
Yeah,
He beat him-
let's move on to the 90. Hey, shout out to King John III, man. He's giving me props for being on your live yesterday, Ralph. He was checking out your live. Shout out
That's
to you.
what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, let's go to the 90s. All right, so
Appreciate the support.
before we start the 90s, players that overlap, would Larry Bird and Magic Johnson be in the top 10 90s if
No.
they didn't get injured?
Oh, if they didn't get injured,
Yes, if they didn't get injured.
they'll be in the top. They'll be second and third more than likely. Like
If Magic didn't get
Well,
retired,
Especially
he
the
would
first
have a
part
better
of the decade.
position to be in the GOAT debate, in my opinion. Like if he would have played another 4 or 5 seasons.
Longevity
Well-
would help Magic Johnson, Craig.
I didn't say
Well-
nothing about long. I'm
well,
just saying he would help.
I'm with Craig on that because if you even look when he came back for that small stint in '96, he was actually playing very well, and he was a shell of himself. So I mean, during that time
Well-
when he was
well-
32, 33, like we still would have got a good portion of that Magic that we see. So yeah, I agree.
Also to be fair, in '92 when Magic took a whole year off and they went to the Olympics, he was still like one of the best players on the team, and he was playing versus
That's what I'm
players who
saying,
was
the
playing
first
the
part
whole
of the
year.
decade,
So that's how
they would
good
still be productive.
Magic was.
Same
So-
thing with Bird. Same thing
Yeah,
with
Bird. Bird was older though. He was like what 30.
Yeah, Bird
35,
hurt his back
36.
and
Yeah,
on concrete.
he was
and
older.
gravel.
So I don't think he would have played longer than what he did. He was
Bird got
already
hurt
older.
being cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and still he was older.
Poured his own concrete.
All right,
No,
so
it's his mother's. His mother's driveway.
It
All right,
still
so-
is.
all right, so we got the 90s show up here available for y'all, right? Let's get to it. It's Jordan, Hakeem, Karl Malone, David Robinson, John Stockton, the boy John Stockton, Pippen, Barkley, Drexler, Ewing, Peyton. Now we all said that Shaq could be in there. So what? Shaq would get up to what?
Yeah,
I'd
Shaq
take
will remove
Drexler out
Drexler.
for Shaq.
Shaq will remove Drexler.
So
Yeah.
remove Drexler, but keep Ewing and Peyton.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, those.
Damn, nobody don't
That's
like Drexler.
Yeah,
like
Ewing
that.
got to be in there.
Drexler won a championship. He was
That's
all
me.
NBA
He
a
was
few
great.
years.
He was great, but Shaq was greater in the
Ewing
90s.
better
I think.
be on there for me being biased.
Shaq won a scoring title, made it to the finals.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah. All right, so go ahead, Chad. It's your turn. Here goes the 90s, guys. Everybody was waiting for the 90s. Let's get to the 90s. The golden era. The
He got
golden
that
era.
99. He got that 99 ring too.
I mean, it's a great list,
That's Tim.
but I mean,
No, I'm sorry.
oh, which one is that? Sorry.
No, it was Chad. It's
No,
Chad.
go ahead.
Oh, good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Duncan won the 99. I made a
99,
mistake.
that's it.
My fault. I made a mistake. Yeah.
Over Patrick.
It was close though.
Yeah. But it's on you, Chad.
I mean,
We all right, Chad? What you just said?
I'm sorry. I'd have to take. Can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you now.
Can you not hear
We
me?
can hear you now.
I would take Peyton out and put Shaq in,
Okay.
or Dennis Rodman. I mean, why ain't he on either one of those?
Yeah, no, Dennis Rodman is one of those low-scoring guys as well. Dennis Rodman actually is officially right now.
But
Like
again,
the-
man,
the
multiple
75th
rebound titles, multiple defensive player of the year. I mean,
Yeah, again, they're not. It's not for
Seven
their
all
for
defensive
the
teams.
decade. It's not a thing for the decade, but that is a good option. He would be up there. But I don't think Dennis Rodman would be any one of these guys. I mean, he did win two. He did win 2 defensive players of the years during the 90s. He does have 7 rebounding titles in the 90s.
seven rebound titles.
He has 4 championships in the 90s. I mean, wow. He is one of the best rebounders of all time. That's a good option. I wouldn't now that you stated that, but his overall career didn't have him.
Come up with that statement. I'm sorry about him
What?
being the best rebound, one of the best rebounders of all time. I'm trying to.
Yeah. Because
not-
I mean, you got
not
to
that-
look at the
know like,
pace.
how did that. What do y'all what constitute him to be in that discussion with Wilt and Russell?
No, I didn't say he
Well,
was
you
better
gotta-
than them. He's one of them. He's one of the greatest. But
Oh, I
he's
thought
definitely.
I heard you say.
I mean,
he's
he-
in.
No, he's not the greatest. No, he's not the
He
greatest.
has an
rebounder.
argument.
No.
He has an argument if you want to go into the direction of the pace when he was winning.
He's
his,
got it on
Yeah.
lock after
his
the
rebounded
merger.
titles
He's got it on
compared
lock
to
after
when
the
they
merger,
were
but
winning them.
take the
So,
merger out, he's not.
like,
That's the whole thing. Is like those numbers are kind of inflated because they were dropping 115 points a game back in the 60s, and like there were twice as many rebounds to go around, and he was doing it in the second lowest scoring era of all time, still grabbing 13 a game and playing lockdown defense. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put him as the best, but he's definitely top 3 or 4. I don't see how you can not say that.
Well, like I said, he's the best after the merger.
I would still go with Moses, but that would be another story.
I'm still
Yeah.
waiting.
But again,
Monster on the board.
he's not
Beast.
on this list.
Is it because he got 7 rebound titles?
Well, no, Moses Malone has 17,000 rebounds, and he was known for the amount of rebound. I believe he has a few rebounding titles, not as much as Rodman, but he has a few. And that was Moses' thing, man. Moses was a beast on the boards, bro. He was a beast.
Mhm.
He was. As far as rebounding, he was. But they're both great. Like I said, they're great rebounders. Rodman's a great rebounder, for sure. That's obvious.
I heard Isaiah Thomas how he spoke about Rodman when they did warm-ups. They say he would stand under the rim and just see where they shoot from and just look at the rim where it bounced off at. That's
He
what
count the
Isaiah Thomas said.
rotations. He said he used to count
Yep.
the rotations of the ball. He said he knew how many times the ball would rotate when Isaiah Thomas shot it, or when Joe Dumars shot it, or when Lambeer shot it. He knew it. He told him, "It was what are you doing?" Because he would stop when they start shooting jumpers.
Yeah,
He
see,
would
that's
stop.
Jordan because he knew Jordan's shot was gonna go in, so he just turned his back like it's gonna go in. Man.
No,
I ain't
he
Oh
also-
my gosh,
No,
Craig.
also he used to
Crazy.
hire his training staff. The people he used to hire to do training for them. His homeboys used to hire them to just shoot jumpers and miss on purpose for him to figure out where the ball would go when it hit on the rim or certain parts of the rim. Just to
Yep.
study it. Just to study it. That was his thing. So Rodman was a great rebounder.
Because a lot of people don't like. If you really look at Rodman, could really score. Like even if when you look in college, he was able to score in college, and then when he came in the NBA, I think the most he averaged was like 14, I believe. And like he can really score. It's just that he focused more on the rebounding after a while.
Well, I mean, I think we have to understand
that his career was going to be determined on defense and rebounding over scoring.
Yeah, I know, but I think we have to
understand that.
Yeah, I think we have to understand that a lot of these basketball players can score. I mean, there's videos of
Didn't he average like 20 in college?
Yeah, it was like 25, I believe.
Yeah, but there's players like but there's players like Looney and Ben Simmons where we see or in pickup games these guys can really ball. Again, there's a difference between being a good basketball player and being a good team basketball player. And to work in the NBA, you have to be a good team basketball player, which means sometimes you're not going to be the scorer. And Rodman understood that. That's why he was able to. You ain't got to
tell me twice you're going to pay me $10 million just to rebound a basketball. I ain't got no problems with that. That's working smarter, not harder. When you got to play, I got to do everything for the same amount.
People out there that
$10 million to rebound, I'll do that.
Yeah, I got you. They over here disrespecting Pippen. Supposedly Pippen should not be. I guess.
Honestly, I would have David Robinson over Malone. I would. Pippen. I would have Pippen above Stockton.
Ooh, so Pippen's top 5. I mean, I have Pippen top 5 in the 90s overall with everything he's accomplished.
I would.
Yeah. But I mean, the list though, the 90s is the golden era, right? We can definitely. We all know there's a lot more than 10 great players from the 90s because some people here mentioned like Glenn Rice. We didn't get to like Chris Mullins, Reggie Miller.
Horace Grant.
Ooh.
Horace Grant.
Shout out to you naming Chris Mullin and Glenn Rice because those guys get forgotten.
Yeah, like, I mean Chris Mullin was on the Dream Team, right? So that shows you how good Chris Mullin was. There was Chris Webber. There was also Grant Hill,
Rod Strickland,
Penny Hardaway, Mitch Richmond. So there was some great players. You got Mutombo.
Mitch was a beast, man.
Alonzo Mourning,
6'5",
Tim Hardaway,
killing with Sacramento.
Yeah, so again, the 90s wasn't. Most of us started watching basketball in the 90s because that's the most popular era for basketball. Well, not really. I think the 2000s actually is more popular now, but the 90s has a nostalgia. It's an old man nostalgia. If you're above 35 and up, it's definitely your era.
Well, you old.
I am.
It's like rap music. All the best rappers came out of the 90s.
Yeah, I was talking about that with somebody over there.
Ask somebody younger.
Yeah, no, well, they can say what they want to. There's no top rap artists now in the Billboard, so it shows how horrible rap has gotten.
Country 90s is interesting.
Right now, ain't they?
Yeah,
country music holding it down right now.
90s is interesting because, like you said, it's like you could easily have Shaq in there because he played 8 seasons, right? And before, he had arguably 4 Shaq-like seasons in the 2000s.
Yeah. Well, okay, but yeah. So far, it's Drexler.
Top 5 in MVP like 5 years, I believe.
Yeah, it's either Drexler or Peyton that gets taken out.
I'd have to take Peyton now before I would.
Yeah, I'd take Drexler.
He said, "Yeah." Brandon said,
"I take either." If we're keeping it a buck, man, I'm taking either Peyton or Pippen out ahead of Shaq. Yeah, they both had better numbers than Pippen. Or Drexler. I'm sorry, Drexler had better numbers than Scottie Pippen.
Get out of there. Pippen can't get out of there. I'll take Drexler out of there because I mean,
but Pippen's got more All NBA and more All Defense in the 90s.
Yeah, that's why I keep him in there.
8 All NBA first teams. I mean, All Defensive first teams in the 90s.
Like I keep Peyton in there, take Drexler out. Peyton got that deep ploy on him,
Yeah, he's got the Defense Player of the Year and a Finals. But I mean, as far as that, then what about Barkley? If we're going to do that.
Barkley got that MVP. He got that MVP. He was top. I think he was top 3 the year before.
Yeah, after 96, Barkley kind of really tailed off. 96, 97, 98, 99. Barkley was a donut.
Well, 96, he was still averaging 16 and 10. So
That's
he
what I'm
was
saying,
still
He was
good.
ring chasing though.
That's
He was
not prime.
team hopping and ring chasing.
It's not prime Barkley, I agree,
That's what
but
I'm saying. That's when he
Barkley
started to
still was
tail
good and
off. Because
serviceable
in
in man.
'95 he was balling. In '94 he was balling, but in like '96 something happened. He just didn't. That's why he
I
got
mean,
traded to
he
Houston.
got old. He didn't take care of himself.
Yeah, it's like he 96 he averaged 16 and 10, and then I was like 14 and 8, I believe, the next year.
Yo, listen, I don't know how people do this. Supposedly Charles Barkley gained like 25, 30 pounds during the draft, like within like days. I don't know how. I don't know how. I've been trying to gain 20, 30 pounds for 20 years. I can't do it. I don't know how people do it, but Barkley.
How much you eat?
Huh? I try to eat
And
all the time.
how much you eat and what
Well,
you
I'm
eat?
vegetarian now, so it's really difficult. I'm a
Well,
vegetarian.
you never gonna get no. You're not gonna get no weight if you're
If you eat
vegetarian.
You ain't gonna gain no weight eating lettuce all
every day,
day.
you're gonna gain weight, buddy.
That's water.
Eat you 5
Well,
rounds of
enough
liver
enough
pieces
about
all
my
day.
enough about my sexiness. Let's move on to the 2000s. Let's move on to the 2000s.
Oh, I
Nobody's
didn't
gonna
even
say that
go
on this channel.
Oh, my
about the
bad.
90s, but
Oh, my
let me
bad.
go
Go
ahead and
ahead.
go about the 90s.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
My bad.
I guess the list looks cool. Jordan number 1, Hakeem 2, Malone 3. I got Barkley 4 2. I got Pippen 5. Pippen got 3 all NBA first teams, 8 all defensive first teams. And that's not counting everything. So I know people put Barkley above him, but Barkley, like we said, he played half of the year, and Pippen was, he was really relevant all of the 90s. So I know Barkley got that MVP, 3 all NBA first teams, but I think what Pippen did overshadows what Barkley did in the 90s. I got Gary Payton 7. Gary Payton was a beast defensively. Well, I think he had 6 all defensive first teams in the 90s. So, all NBA first team. He only had that once. I know a lot of you guys probably put Stockton over him, but Stockton was great in the 90s, but he wasn't as dominant in the 90s as a lot of people. So,
Yeah, late 90s.
yeah,
Late
he
90s.
wasn't
He
as
was
dominant.
more. It was more subtle offense. He wasn't as big as he was early 80s. I mean, late 80s, early 90s. I agree.
Yeah, and then I got Shaq 8. I got Stockton 9. I got Patrick Ewing number 10.
Yeah, Big Pat. All right. I mean, the 90s is great. I would have Scottie Pippen top 5. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't have Jordan number 1 in the 90s. It would be Malone or Hakeem. And then you would have to put Jordan in there in the top 3 somewhere, and then it would be David Robinson. No, because again, Jordan did miss years, right? He had 7 good years, 7 really good years in the 90s. But Hakeem played great throughout the 90s, and so did Malone. Malone had an All NBA every year in the 90s, so it's like
Malone played every year great in the 90s, like you said.
Yeah.
Every year All NBA first teams. Hakeem he's a center, so it kind of hurt him. With the All NBA selections, but All NBA first team selections. But Jordan still has more than Hakeem in the 90s.
Again, I wouldn't argue Jordan. We all know Jordan. That was his era. It belonged to him.
Jordan got 4 MVPs, 6 Finals MVPs in the 90s. Like, it's not even a question. Michael Jordan number 1 by far.
He also has 2 retirements. He also has 2 retirements. 2 retirements.
Most by any player.
That's nasty. That's nasty, Johnny, and you know that. That was nasty.
Yeah, but we're talking about the decade, man.
Yeah, listen. Jordan's the
Just
man.
like
Jordan's the man.
Like that. Y'all bring up the turnovers for LeBron. You got to take the good with the bad, man.
Yeah, it's all right. No, it's all right. Listen, the man is the GOAT, man. I mean, Jordan is definitely. Listen, when the 90s was over, I called him the GOAT. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave it there. So the 2000s, we're gonna go into the 2000s, which some people call it the greatest the greatest era ever. So Kobe. All right. So yeah, we got LeBron, Duncan, Shaq, Kobe. So which one of those 4 is really the best player of the 2000s?
Duncan.
I got Duncan. I got
Duncan.
Kobe number 2.
I say
Kobe number 2. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Kobe and Shaq got an argument. I think Shaq and Kobe got an argument.
I think we should go in order in this one.
Let's go. So Chad, what do you think? So how do you rank it? Let's finish off. We got KG, Wade, Dirk,
No, you might. You know, I'm gonna go
The
first because
2000s,
you
the
guys be
2000s.
taking too damn long. But
Let Johnny go.
I'm gonna go first because y'all be taking too damn long. So I got Duncan number one. I got Kobe second because of his all defensive teams compared to Shaq. Both of them was 7-time All NBA first team in the 2000s. Shaq got
Okay.
the 3 Finals MVPs that Kobe won. That's why I guess some could flip flop, but I would take Kobe number 2. I got KG fourth. He's 4-time All NBA first team, 8-time All NBA, 8 All Defensive team. Plus he got the MVP Defensive Player of the Year. Brian number 5, Dirk, and then I got AI. Then I got Nash, J Kidd, and Dwight.
That's interesting.
Dwight who?
The white
Howard.
around your lip.
Dwight Howard.
You caught that right.
Wait, he was drafted in 05. I'm thinking about somebody else. He drafted in 05.
I
You like that, didn't you?
Duncan at 1. I got Duncan at 1, Shaq at 2, Kidd at 3,
Wow.
then Kobe, LeBron, Wade, Dirk, Ben, and Gasol.
That's it. I mean, again, the 2000s is great as well. Craig, what do you think, Craig?
I would say Kobe. Kobe then Duncan.
Kobe then Duncan?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
Shaq.
nasty.
Shaq ain't had nobody.
That's not crazy. That's not crazy.
That's not crazy at all.
The 2000, right? The
2000. The 2000. So that's from 2000.
Down to 3 championships. He didn't even have a
You won
a
4 in the
finals
2000s,
MVP.
man. See, y'all gotta stop saying. Y'all gotta.
Doesn't matter.
We didn't do
Doesn't
that.
matter.
We didn't
How
do
many
that for
times
nobody
did he
else.
miss the
We didn't do
playoffs?
that
How
for
many times
nobody
did he
else.
miss the playoffs before he got Gasol?
I'm ready to destroy it. I'm ready to destroy it.
He made him twice. He made it 06 and 07 without Gasol.
How many times did he miss the playoffs?
Once.
He's missed it more than once.
No, I mean
No,
in
he just
2000.
missed once.
In the
2000
2000s.
just once.
In the 2000s.
Yeah,
We're talking about
Yeah,
2000.
How many LeBron missed in the 2000s? Since you want to go about playoffs, missing playoffs.
Two. With a winning
But you
record.
got him ranked higher than Kobe
What?
with 2 missing playoff
No, he doesn't.
appearances.
No, he
No, I
doesn't.
don't.
He said,
No, he don't. No, he don't.
Kobe was ahead of LeBron. See? Slow your roll.
All right, guys. So,
go ahead, Travis.
all right. So, without a question, well, slight question, but it's definitely Kobe with a bullet. Then we got Duncan and Shaq's maybe 4 or 5. But anyway, Kobe, without a doubt, toughest era ever, and he was the best player from 2000 2009. Missed me with anyone else. He had he had the most defensive all defensive teams. He had the highest scoring average. He scored the most points from those years on in the toughest era, and he was average or actually shooting slightly better than the average field goal percentage during those teams. He also played in the toughest conference in that toughest era of all time. He beat the most 50-win teams of all time, 37 out of his 43. Playoff appearances, 86%. 86% of the people he faced in the playoffs were 50-win teams. Next closest guy is Jordan with 73%. LeBron with 53%. And then he had, in that era, it definitely means something. And so then Kobe also, again, had the toughest playoff runs of all time from 2008, 2009, or 2010, where he faced 11 50-win teams out of the 12 that he faced. And so they're all killers. He faced, again, with the toughest conference.
Who's those teams, Travis? Who's those teams, since you say 50-win teams are the greatest? Who's those dominant teams?
So let's see. He faced Spurs, Nuggets, Rockets, some combination of Suns, all these people, Celtics. I can pull up the roster during the early 2000s. He was facing the Kings, Prime Blazers, Prime Spurs.
These are not all great teams. Like, those are just decent teams, and
those are amazing teams.
Those are not amazing teams. That's the problem. Just
because
you win 50 teams,
so
don't mean
these teams were dominating in the toughest era. So these are the teams that rose to the top. You want to pull up rosters, we can do that. But these teams were great, and they would be killers in today's league.
Damn.
They're not great teams. They
Listen,
were
The
good
HC
teams.
team in the West in the 2000s would be like a first seed team.
All right, y'all, we
That-
gonna
That
get it.
2002 Blazers team or 2000 Blazers team would be like a 75 win team today.
What?
Nah, I
With
doubt
Steve
that.
Smith?
We going a little too
okay,
crazy.
yeah.
Listen,
Believe it.
listen, Travis. I was just about to say the way you was running off those Kobe numbers and stuff like that. You actually make a better case for Kobe Bryant than you do for Michael Jordan, but you just messed up with that last statement right
I
there.
did do my eyes have been open to the Kobe Kobe debate.
The 50 plus win teams, he's right about that. Kobe's beaten the most 50 plus win teams. He's right.
I mean, they did have a lot of 50-win
Yeah,
teams
man.
in the Western
their
Conference
yeah.
during that era stretch. We'll give you that. But like I always tell you guys, it was only the Lakers and the San Antonio Spurs that was really a threat. Dallas was probably a threat once, twice because they made the finals.
Carmelo's Nuggets would be dogs today.
Carmelo was not waking up 4 a.m. to work out. He was never a threat to Kobe Bryant. Okay, stop it.
Man, they were decent.
Wasn't
teams.
09.
They weren't great teams. They wasn't teams like, oh, these one of the best teams of all time. The Nuggets was a good team.
Yeah.
I would say
not a
that.
great team.
I would say that.
Johnson.
Now, to bring up what Brandon brought up, I know I'm gonna let you go in, Ralph. The Iverson thing. Iverson was just out of the top 10 with Paul Pierce, just behind Paul Gasol. So I do think Iverson should be there for the 2000. Could he be a 90s player as well? Brandon,
He
is
only
he?
played 4 seasons.
No.
He played a good amount of his career in the 90s, but in the 2000s he was at his best.
He was drafted the Kobe draft, right?
96.
Okay, so yeah, so it's kind of him and so him and Kobe
All
and all right, go ahead, Ralph. What do you think of the 2000s?
All right.
No,
Well,
hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, Ralph. For Travis, I know you said Kobe was clearly the best, but all NBA first team, all defensive first team,
Oh,
Duncan
let me go,
and Kobe
please.
both have 7. MVPs
No,
more
Brandon.
for Duncan. Finals MVPs more
Come
for
on,
Duncan.
Brandon, let
So
me
Kobe-
go.
All right, go ahead,
Brandon, let me
Ralph.
go. Let
Go
me
ahead,
go.
Ralph.
Don't worry, Brandon. I
Go ahead,
got you, brother.
Real fast. So Kobe finished real fast,
Go
real
ahead,
fast. Sorry.
finish it. Go ahead.
Real fast. So Kobe is the only player that doesn't have multiple MVPs, but finished top 10 at least, or top 5 MVP voting. The other list has like Braun, Kareem, Jordan, and like Magic or something. And Kobe did it 11 times, but has 1 MVP. Only player to only have 1 MVP to finish over 10 times in top 5 voting. So you do the math on that one.
Damn. Well,
No,
listen,
actually,
you're
that
the Kobe
is
guy.
actually-
You're officially the Kobe guy.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead, Ralph.
I got Duncan. I got Duncan for the fact that in the 2000s, you got to realize that whole decade, he did not miss the playoffs not once. Matter of fact, he has a winning percentage within that whole decade on top of the 2 MVPs that he have, and he's been top 5 in all MVP and deploy, half of that, if not more, throughout that decade. So when you look at the playoff translation, especially the 2003 run, Duncan has that. So that's why I have Duncan at number 1. Like it's like
what's the series between the Spurs and the Lakers with Kobe and Duncan on the roster? I'm pretty sure Kobe beat the Spurs more times than the Spurs with Duncan.
Well, Kobe destroyed Duncan in 08.
I'm pretty sure Kobe got more wins against a Duncan-led Spurs than Duncan got wins.
Kobe's the only player in history to win 2 titles without a top 75 player.
Duncan, say that again.
Kobe is the only player in league history to win back-to-back titles without a fellow top 75 player.
Back to back
In the toughest era.
Back to back.
Well, hold on. Wait,
you got to understand, Duncan is in that same.
anything.
Hold on, Duncan is also in that same era too, and you got to look at it. He won titles in 3 different decades, and on top of that, you got to look at he did it without Tony Parker just got it into the Hall of Fame. I mean,
he was eligible. That's why.
But Tony Parker's not a top 75 player either.
I mean,
Duncan won 3 titles without a top 75 player.
Got most.
No, he's got 2.
Yeah, and Kobe got his
and 1
with
Kawhi.
Kobe's.
But
Kobe's got.
Duncan
got
never
most of
repeated.
his titles.
Wait,
05 and 07 don't have
Here
top
we go.
75 players.
He said back to back.
Back to back.
Can't champion.
No,
next
but
year
that
champion.
Yeah, he won back.
2010 don't count for the 2000s.
Fact.
That don't have nothing to do with the fact that he said
It
back to
doesn't.
back.
It doesn't.
We are talking about the 2000s though.
But
We are
we're
talking
talking
about
about the 2000s. Hold on, Craig. No, we're talking about the 2000s.
Yeah, get him, Ralph.
Well, I did say that. All right.
I just said he
Yeah.
won in 3 different
But
decades.
at the same time, hold on, wait a second. Hold on. And then you got to look at the Finals MVPs as well, to where Duncan has that over.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? I'm gonna really shock y'all because at the end of the day, nobody's greater than LeBron James. He is the greatest player of the 2000s. I have LeBron the greatest player of the 2000s. Then it's Tim Duncan. Then it's Kobe. Go ahead, Ralph.
I got Tim Duncan. I got Kobe. I got Shaq. I got KG. Pretty much what Brandon has the top 5. I got LeBron behind KG. Then it gets. I'll say Wade, Dirk. I'll put Dwight in there over Kidd.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's hard because you know what, Kobe and Duncan are truly icons. But okay, what about Paul Pierce? Because I actually would put Paul Pierce in over Paul Gasol. I would actually
put him over Ben Wallace.
I'm gonna put neither one of them in the 2000s. So
who, Paul Pierce? No,
Paul Gasol.
I won't put Paul Pierce in 2000.
I mean, that
Paul
2010,
Pierce was not better than Nash.
I'm tell you that.
That Nash is another one that didn't.
Yeah, he wasn't better than Nash. He wasn't better than AI. He wasn't better than Dirk or Dwight.
Nash was brought up yesterday on Ralph's Live as well. We were talking about Nash because of the MVP he won in 2005.
Yeah, Lowe is a big Nash guy. He's a big.
It's
Nash
funny
guy.
because he doesn't respect Stockton, and we brought up how him and Stockton are basically the same thing, but he couldn't understand it.
They're very similar, I think. Nash.
It was
Nash
was
more
flashier, but other than that, they're pretty close.
No, the only reason he was more
see
didn't have what's it called, wing players to throw to like Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion. I mean, he had a Malone. Different way.
Nash is.
If you could run with those guys,
The only reason why.
Go ahead, Ralph.
The only reason why Nash is more flashier is because of the style of play that they had within that system. So it's gonna how the way he had to play that system. That's why it looked flashy. But if I have to say,
flashier player,
he looked more flashy.
Nash,
he's a flashier player.
You know, driving to the rim or shooting, a fadeaway than Stockton did.
Nash style of play, he's more. He's like Stockton, but he's more of a scorer than Stockton. Stockton can score, but I think Nash is a better scorer than him, and
Nash
he can
scored
also
a lot because he never had
to
play with someone who had averaged 25 points for 18 seasons. I'm pretty sure if John Stockton didn't have a player that averaged 25, he would score more.
If Amari Stoudemire didn't get hurt the way he did, I think he would have been like that. Not to that caliber. Not to that caliber, but you got to understand, Nash had 2 20-point scorers as well as with Sean Marion and Amari Stoudemire. So, I mean, it goes
They
hand
had
in
a
hand.
different offense. It was more fast-paced. It was a different offense, like you said.
Yeah.
Definitely different. But Stockton could have done that. I know Brandon don't like that.
Played with Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, played with Kobe. I mean,
he had 1 year with
good scorers.
Joe Johnson, too. He had that 1 year with Joe Johnson as well.
Dirk Nowitzki, Mike Finley.
Didn't he play with Shaq, too, in Phoenix?
Yeah, he played for like a half a year with Shaq.
Yeah.
But still, Nash is a more flashier player, and a system he had was different than what Stockton was running.
Yes.
All right, so no Ben Wallace, no Paul Gasol for Iverson and Nash?
I'd put Ben Wallace over Steve Nash any day.
Yes.
Not in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Man, Ben Wallace had
back-to-back MVPs.
Defensive champ.
40 POYs?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that 4 DPOYs is crazy.
And he had and I think he won a couple of blocking titles and rebounding titles as well.
As an
player.
Dude, what did Nash do except for get surrounded with a bunch of great players and win one fraudulent MVP. Sorry.
I agree with that fraudulent MVP though. Braun could have got it
Biggest
that
robbery
year.
in MVP history.
Braun and Kobe definitely had an argument of winning that year. Even
What year?
even Dirk.
2006.
That's where they go to
06.
what your team record
Yeah.
is. That's
Braun
where they
had
go
a
to
hell
what
of a
your
year
team
that year.
record is.
Kobe had the
08?
worst roster in NBA history in the playoffs.
What are you
Yeah,
talking?
but he didn't
Hold
have
on.
enough
What year was
wins
that?
to get MVP.
06?
06. He won 05, 06. Nash won 05 and 06 back to back.
I think didn't Braun win 48 games that year?
No, in
It was like
06.
fourth or something in the league. Was
Yeah.
it in 06?
Yeah, it was 06. They
06.
were.
I think he won like 48 games that year. He was like in fourth place. They lost in the second round
Yeah, they
Yep.
did to Detroit.
against the Pistons.
Yeah, they did. They did. He was actually in top 10.
So he
voting
coulda got
in both years. He was top 10 voting in 05 and in 06.
I want to say he was top. I think he was number 4.
I think LeBron was
In
second and voted in
06.
2006. I think he was second.
He was second. Oh wow.
It
I
was
think
it was
he was second.
05. It was 05. He was like 4 or something like that.
Yeah,
Now
ridiculous.
we talked about 05 yesterday on your live. So it was Nash, then it was Shaq, then it was Dirk Nowitzki. Because Tashim was saying Dirk Nowitzki had a more claim to that MVP than Shaq did. Because I was saying Shaq should have been the league MVP that year. But again, Nash was great, man. Nash was really great. I think this era would be even perfect for Nash. I think both him and Stockton would actually benefited more if they were playing in today's NBA, which is the 2010s. Y'all ready to go to the 2010s?
I
Stockton-
think Stockton would have been more like Chris Paul.
Stockton would be like a 20 and 15 guy today.
He'd be like Chris Paul. Like
I would say
Chris Paul.
18 and 13, 18 and 12 would be his thing. But he would be efficient.
16 and 10 maybe.
10
He'd have fewer assists?
with all these shooters, he would have fewer assists. Yeah.
I mean, who you see averaging over 10 assists today?
Well, there was
That's
two this
true.
year. There was two this guys. There was two guys this year that averaged
Yeah.
10 assists.
Oh,
Was it Trey Young and Halliburton?
Harden and
Right.
and Trey Young.
No, not Trey. It's Harden.
Harden
Trey
and
was
Trey Young.
almost there. I think Trey
Okay.
averaged like 9 point something.
But I know Harden did.
Yeah.
Harden averaged 10.7, I believe, or 10.2.
Yeah.
no one's gonna let Stockton just do pick and rolls 20 times a game to get layups. So
Oh,
Really
you and Lo would have loved having this conversation yesterday, Brandon. It was-
Yeah. Low
Johnny.
do not like Stockton. bro.
But you know what? Low would have said. Low said that they weren't even doing pick and rolls the whole time. For Low, it was just standing there and waiting till Malone post up and just throw it to Malone and go somewhere else. That he said that the pick and roll wasn't even a factor. He was saying they didn't even do it that much. He was saying that. That's what he was saying.
Oh, Johnny, one final thing before we go to the 10s. Just to touch on the Kobe Bryant thing.
Mhm.
Kobe's also part of the 3 most difficult playoff runs of all time in 2002, 08, and 10. And so the other one being Hakeem in 95.
Okay, the Sacramento
you
series
just
was-
making up stuff now.
Yeah,
You just making
Wait.
up stuff.
the Sacramento series was
02?
02 or 01. Was it 02 or 01? The Sacramento
02.
series.
He wasn't
02.
even the best player on the floor against the Spurs. In 02.
Yeah, it was.
No, that was Duncan. Duncan was killing in 02 in that series.
They swept. Or no, they beat the Spurs in like 6 games that series. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he was the best player on that court, even though they got beat. Though.
Hey.
Go look at the Duncan's 02 round right there was better than his 03.
That was MVP Duncan, but I'm saying as far as the toughest playoff runs, those were the toughest.
He won MVP because Kid was beating on his wife. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Nah, Duncan those 2 years was a monster. We're not
Kid
doing
deserved that MVP in 03. Everybody was saying
No.
it because of that stuff he
Kid
had.
No,
definitely got that
no.
MVP. Kid took that team to the finals and they was trash before.
No,
So,
yeah, kid.
I mean,
was in
Kid
that.
definitely
You said
got that
03?
03.
Nah,
02.
Duncan won it.
I know
02.
Early
But Kid
early
was-
2000s East was probably the best ever too. Well, besides the 80s East.
I mean, yeah, Kid took it to the finals in 02.
Well,
Yeah, but
I mean,
That's
Kid
why
was
I said
the
that.
definition of the most valuable player. He was the
Yeah.
definition of the most valuable player that year.
That was what Lo was bringing up.
that
on your
was
live.
arguable.
Yeah, because he was saying how the MVP is more or less pertaining towards winning, right? Because it's really the guy who has the best record that's usually get the award and being the best player
That's
on that
usually
team.
the way it goes.
That's usually the way it goes. And he was saying that.
Don't
So,
fuck
but
up in your personal
well,
life.
he was
you win
saying. So he was
MVP.
saying you can't use the MVPs if you're not willing to not use the negatives, which is obviously something I didn't understand. But let's move on to the 2010s because I mean again. Man, we got good. The 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s is all basketball lore. Like this is just greatness at its finest. And as usual,
But do you see a trend? It went from big men now to the 10s is really guards.
Yeah.
No, it's really skill players. That's what it is.
It's
Skill
guards.
players.
Skills
Skill players. It went from
So the
big man
fact that
posting up
Jordan
to
is the
skill
only
players.
skilled player in the top
What?
5 of
No,
any
so
of these
no dunk,
decades,
so
so
no
say
dunk
something.
it.
Because
Yeah, no
all of them
Kobe
is
in the
like
team.
big men, right?
I mean,
There's
there
no
wasn't a
perimeter
skill. There
player.
wasn't too many skilled players.
So no Kobe.
So that's why Jordan is number one because he was clearly more skilled than big man.
Okay.
The
And there's
90s
big men. So
Alright,
there's no
so the
skills in the
2000
60s because they fall
So the-
pin. Top
so the
3 is
2000
big men,
so-
I
right?
mean, you get better
so
over
the
the time.
2010s.
So the
I don't think
2010s, we got LeBron.
I don't think everybody gonna argue that one.
Yeah, you got KD, CP3, Stephen Curry, which is I know the light skinned special wonder boy. They love this
He's
the Stephen Curry, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Dwight Howard, the white around your lips, and Westbrook, AD, and Draymond Green, y'all. Draymond Green. So those are the
What?
guys. Yes, Draymond Green, man. Draymond Green ranked high, bro. The guy has Defensive Player of the Year, all NBAs, all defensive, all stars, steals titles, championships. I mean, I don't know what to tell you about Draymond Green, bro.
I'm not gonna argue the Draymond Green until I got evidence. I'm not gonna argue the Draymond Green.
Yes, he
because
does
I don't have
average.
evidence.
He does average a triple double, but I mean a triple single.
Triple
but-
single.
a triple single.
So
Yeah.
we in agreement, man. It's his accolades and not the stats that got him up here.
No, it's stats up there because, like I said, he has a steals title. He's up there. But I'm just saying, yeah, that's a part of it. He has some good numbers as far as rebounds and assists. Like I said, he
I put
averages
CP
more.
in
He
there.
has more assists and more average more assists and more assists than Stephen Curry during their finals runs.
Curry.
I
Is
mean,
he the point guard?
Draymond is the reason Steph Curry's great.
So if Stephen Curry is going to be number 2, so is Stephen Curry the number 2 player of the 2000s?
Yes.
Go ahead, let's
Yes.
start with you.
He's clearly number 2. I don't
So-
think there's a question about that.
Okay, so it's LeBron,
I disagree.
Curry, and then
Chad, why, Chad?
Please explain that.
You're going to say he's the second best player of the 2010s based on what, 2 MVPs and coattail riding 3 championships?
Unanimous MVP is back too.
Okay, well then he's the greatest of all time, man.
Well, who do you have above Curry
What?
in the 2010s? Who you
I
have
mean,
above
I
him
would
then?
take KD over him.
Okay,
No.
who else?
I'd take CP3 over him.
Okay, I wouldn't do that, but who else?
Kawhi Leonard.
No.
You just named everybody who can't play more than 50 games in a season. What are you
That was a good one, Craig.
Like
Well,
I could understand Kevin Durant because he came in and he took over Curry's team. Like I can understand that one.
Uh-huh.
But I wouldn't say CP3. I wouldn't say him. And,
No, I would put
you know,
CP3. No,
I
I
wouldn't
would
put
put CP3
CP3
above
above
him.
Curry.
No, I would. Curry is great, man. Curry is great. I wouldn't. I don't know. It is between him and KD though. I would agree. They would be. Either one would be the second best.
I slightly edge Curry.
Okay.
You know, we'll put Kawhi right after them.
Yeah.
So all right. So LeBron, KD, Curry, Kawhi. Okay, and then number
Howard.
5, Howard.
I would.
Okay.
I will put Howard.
Curry,
No, I'll
KD.
put Harden. I'll put Harden.
Harden.
Mhm.
Can I put Westbrook right after Harden?
Yeah, I mean, I
Or
would.
CP3 before Westbrook?
I think.
Nah, CP3 is up there. Yeah. I
don't-
think
don't-
CP should be. I think CP should be 4th. Because I take it.
Nah,
I
you
mean,
gotta
I don't
realize
like
he
Kawhi. I don't
was
like
drafted
Kawhi
in
being top 5 though.
05,
Yeah, I don't like Kawhi being top 5 over Harden, Curry. Yeah, and CP3.
Kawhi got them 2 deploys, like you were
Two-
saying with
Two
Draymond. Though.
defensive player of the years, 2
Yeah.
finals, MVPs, 2 titles.
That's what like
Can't argue that.
What are we
You
arguing
have to
here?
look at his career. Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
but
look
the
at his
MV
career. And
the
in
Harden has the
2010,
MVP, right? The scoring
Yeah,
title.
look at the teams. Like I say, you're knocking Kawhi because he doesn't play. Okay, fair enough. Ha 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 ha.
That was
Curry's
that was
team.
just a.
Look at Curry's team.
I mean,
We talking about
Curry has 2 teammates up here.
Okay,
It was
Joe,
Draymond
how would
Green,
have-
though, but-
He got
Kawhi
1.5.
Tim Duncan for a title. What are you talking about?
But he
Y'all
won the
just
Finals
arguing Tim
MVP.
Duncan was the
Duncan
number
didn't.
one man.
He won the Finals MVP. Duncan didn't.
yeah. And then he
What?
won again in 2019.
Oh, yeah.
He did
Yeah.
win, and I'm gonna tell you this: that Toronto run was probably one of the greatest runs we're gonna see in our lifetime. That was a great run. That team was great, man. That was a really good, like a fit. It worked perfect for them.
AD got hurt.
I'll say I put him up.
Yeah,
I put
no,
him,
it's
I put him
Golden
up.
State got
You
hurt. It
telling
wasn't
me
that
if
damn great.
Klay Thompson and
Wasn't
KD
that
was
great. They
still
got
there,
hurt.
Toronto would have won still.
Facts.
I
That
guess
great.
so.
If
Yeah,
KD
Durant.
and
If
Klay
Durant hadn't
didn't
got
get
injured, it would have been a wrap.
hurt, Toronto
I mean,
would have
Klay
still
Thompson
won
didn't
that
get
shit.
injured.
If
Yeah.
this were the 5th, I'll be drunk.
No, he said it was the best run, and we saying why it wasn't the best run.
I'm saying no,
because
it's one of the
Golden
best
State got
ones we're
hurt.
gonna see in our life. I'm saying even with the whole thing with the injury, I'm saying like everything fell in play for them, even to the point to where they got the injuries at the end, and it was, you know what I'm saying, like the Kawhi shot
Yeah.
against
And
Philadelphia,
the
the
funny
whole.
thing
It was
is,
an exciting
everybody's
run.
saying Kevin Durant
Yeah.
is going to get hurt again.
That
Everybody's
yes, it
saying
was.
he's going to get hurt again because he
It's
came
memorable.
back
Okay,
from
let's just say
that.
it was memorable. I would say memorable. Let's just say okay, it's memorable. That's if
So
anything.
this list,
Mhm.
I like it. I'd probably have. I wouldn't have AD any lower than. If we're just doing strictly 2010s, I'd have him probably above Kawhi and Harden. Harden and AD is tough because there were 5 years from like what was it 14 to just before he joined the Lakers where he could have arguably been in the top 3 MVP conversation every single year. He was dropping almost 30
Like
and
the last 3 years though, it wasn't.
yeah.
Just the whole 2010s. I
Yeah.
won't put him that
So
high.
from like 13 to 19, like a 6-year stretch there, he was dropping like 27 and 13 every single year, and he was playing at least 60 games. That's before, but obviously, yeah, he fell off, and like when he joined the Lakers, he was playing 36 and 40 games. Last year, he actually had a great year, but yeah, I mean, just for the numbers, and like obviously, we're not really talking about advanced metrics here, but he's pretty high in EFG and PER too.
Is this
But-
list with a 65 game play minimum requirement?
Well, you got him there, except for like 3 years.
You're on the roll today.
Yep, 4 years he didn't play.
I'm surprised nobody brought up Anthony Davis because that's what AD stands for, and nobody brought up Anthony Davis. Nobody.
That's what I'm just talking about.
That's why I asked the question about the
I
games
will
played,
probably
because
bump
it's
No,
no
what are we
list.
talking about?
Oh, there's a-
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
indeed.
My bad. I'm sorry. I was reading the comments. I'm sorry.
I would bring down Dwight Howard though.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I would
I would
take out
bring down
Dwight.
Dwight.
I would take him out.
Yeah,
Take out the way.
But
Yeah.
who would replace him, Brandon?
I don't know.
Who would
I mean-
replace Dwight Howard?
I don't know.
Giannis.
probably a lot of people.
Paul George.
Giannis.
Paul George.
2010s and everything.
Yeah.
That's our argument.
Yeah, I would put Wade
I
over
mean-
Dwight Howard in the 2010s.
You could still put Kobe in here.
I'll
for like a
put
couple
Wade.
years.
Yeah, you put
Yeah,
Kobe too.
and
Kobe
Duncan.
played at least a
And
good
Duncan.
5
But he-
years. Kobe and Wade played
can put
more
Duncan
dominant
in there,
years
too.
since
But after
2010 than
2000
Dwight Howard.
But after 2012, that's when Kobe really started declining, though.
The 2013 Kobe had the most underrated season in league history.
2013, he was
Hey, here comes Travis. Kobe time. Come on, Travis. Give us the Kobe 2013.
Hold on,
Kobe was still
It was
in the early
2013 when he
parts,
tore his
man.
Achilles, or was it 2012?
In the playoffs, yeah, but he carried them there. He should have been MVP. But
Yeah, they made. He got hurt.
Once he
got
tore
hurt
his
right before the
Achilles,
playoffs. Yeah.
he wasn't the same.
Okay, Ray
well,
Allen.
that happened last like 3 games of the season.
Ray,
So
Ray Allen.
But
he
after
didn't
that,
mention Ray
well, he
Allen.
played 3
I mean,
seasons
Kobe
after
won
He
that.
should have
the title
retired.
in 2010s. Kobe
Yes,
won the
I
title
agree.
in 2010s.
That's true.
Yeah.
Finals MVP 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kobe was definitely more dominant in 2010 than Dwight Howard and
Yeah.
Wade.
Yeah, he went
I
through
would,
Howard too.
yeah,
What about
I would
Kyrie?
take Dwight and Green out for Kobe and Wade.
What about Kyrie Irving and Love? No,
No. No.
Melo,
Love underrated.
Melo, no
No
Melo.
Melo.
Melo too. Yeah, Melo should be in here too. Melo should be in
Oh
here
yeah,
too.
Melo.
Yeah, Melo.
After the 2013-14 season with Melo, that's when all of that happened. Because once he left my Knicks, he wasn't that player like that. He started slowly declining.
You think he played like on every team on the Western Conference when he left?
What about Dame Lillard?
Yep.
Bosh, Chris Bosh? No, because I think Chris
No,
Bosh.
Bosh, nah, not Bosh.
Bosh played. He did play 6 years. He played till 2015. I think 2015 was his last.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put Bosh in there.
I love our chat going up for that. Love had empty numbers. Miss me with that garbage.
Yeah, from 2010
I'll
to 2015, Melo averaged 26 points a game. So he was
Yeah, that was
over
that
half
was
the
because,
year. He was dominant. Over half the decade, he
Yeah.
was dominant.
Yeah, from that 2010 to 2013, that's what the
2000,
bulk
well,
of that.
2014, he averaged 27. 2015, he averaged
What?
24.
Hmm.
So it wasn't like he was trash after 2013. His
What-
team was just trash.
After he left the Knicks, where did he go? Where did he go after he left the Knicks?
He left
He
the
went
Knicks
to
in
he went to
2017.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, he left the Knicks in
Oklahoma City.
2017 though.
But
Like,
that's
it was
when
late.
that's
It
when
was
they did him
dirty.
dirty, right? That's when they did him dirty, though.
He
Right?
went to Oklahoma City, and then they traded him to Houston, and then Houston traded him to Chicago, and Chicago waved him off. He didn't even play in Chicago, and that's when
He went to Portland.
he took that height. Yeah, he was out for like a year and a half or whatever. Then he went to Portland.
Wow, they did him dirty. They did him
Then he
dirty.
went to the Lakers.
Yeah, he got blacklisted.
They
he
did
got
him
black.
dirty.
Yeah. The 2010. There's pretty good arguments for Wade, Kobe, and Melo.
I said,
Yeah.
I'll say.
There's a good argument for Kevin Love.
If I'm thinking about it,
Dirk
Kobe,
Nowitzki.
yeah,
Nah,
and Melo,
but
but
they did win a championship.
Wade, that's 2011. He did good. 10 and 11.
I mean,
he did good.
he won 2 titles in the 2010s, and he was even
Yeah.
he was pretty good when he went to the Bulls too in 2000. What?
Well, he averaged like
17,
18, didn't
17,
he? He
17,
averaged like 18
something like
and
that.
17.
17.
Like
Yeah,
like these guys was not trash when they left.
it wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad. But all right, so
Yeah.
all right, so we obviously we're gonna take Draymond Green, AD out, Howard out, and we
No,
got
not
Wade.
AD.
No, not even.
You ain't
I don't know
taking
about
AD out.
AD was
Howard,
I
yeah.
thought we said AD. I could have sworn we heard AD. I said AD.
No,
take
not
out,
AD.
take
Not
out.
AD. He
So
was
I already
top-
made the case for AD.
Oh my God!
Nah.
You made a case. You did a horrible job with
Yeah,
Kobe. You made your case with Anthony Davis.
What?
I'll say if you want to take out Howard and Green for Melo and Kobe, I'm not gonna argue that.
How are you going to check out someone who was averaging like 25 and 12 for like 5 straight years in the decade we're talking about?
I mean, again, Anthony
Yeah,
Davis.
yeah,
was by-
And then he was
definitely
top
take out
3.
Anthony
He was like
Davis.
top 3 at MVP
Yeah.
several years within that decade.
Hell,
So
I'd take
can
out-
agree with that.
I take out Green for Kevin Love. This guy's saying in chat he has empty numbers. Bro, half the people on these lists put up empty numbers sometimes. Playoff success doesn't mean anything with what we're talking about here. It's all about their stats and dominance. Kevin Love,
Kevin Love
was-
not nowhere near this list.
yeah,
Kevin
Kevin Love was
had-
26
he
and
had about-
13.
Yeah,
Kevin Love
that's
had
1 year
obviously-
before he went to Cleveland.
He had like 4 or 5 great years where he could have been MVP discussion here from 2010 to like 20, what is this, 16?
Mhm.
He's dropping insane numbers here.
That year you're talking about, I think he was top 5 at MVP.
Yeah.
I think he was
In
top
like
5
3
at MVP
good
that year.
years. He had 3 good years in 2010s. I don't know what y'all talking about.
And then-
I mean, I'm still putting him over. I'm still putting him over Green.
I put him over Green.
Ah,
Oh,
What about Giannis?
Well,
Is Giannis a
He
2000s?
take the
2000s?
championships away. The defensive player of the year and steals titles gonna put him over Kevin Love.
Giannis started erupting at the end of the 2010s though.
He was
So-
like
No,
the
because
last
AD
three
Green
years.
could not
It
have
was like
been.
that 2017 years when Giannis
Yeah.
started.
And here's the
balling
thing:
more.
Green could never have been a first option on any team. I don't care about his
That's
skill
true.
type.
Not the first option talk.
But
not
he
the
can be the
first option.
defensive anchor, though. He on
Sure.
the defensive side.
So
he
could Dennis
be the
Rodman.
defensive anchor. Yeah. And we
Oh,
made an
man.
argument of him being in the top 10 in the 90s.
Yeah, and now
Make an argument.
You did. All right, so out of these these players in the top 10, the top 10 in the 2010s, which one of them you think could make top 10 in the 2020s?
Out of the 2010.
LeBron can. I think AD can.
Curry.
Of course, Curry.
And that's it.
Kawhi ain't play that much. I can't say
That's it.
Kawhi.
The LeBron, KD, Curry?
AD. No, AD. What are we talking about? AD can.
Yeah, AD, Curry, KD, LeBron. Those about the what 4?
4.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right,
That's what I said.
so who else you got would be for 2020? Just predictions. Let's go ahead, Brandon. Who you got?
Jokic.
Well, Jokic, Giannis,
Mhm.
those pretty
Embiid.
good locks. So that's 6. Embiid 7.
Luka.
Luka 8. Jason Tatum 9.
Oh, Jason
Yeah.
Tatum. That's the
Tatum.
case.
What about Booker?
Edwards. Anthony Edwards.
Booker.
Jimmy.
Anthony Edwards.
Jimmy and Booker. Yeah, it's between those two, Jimmy and Booker, I think.
Okay, Jimmy and Booker. Yeah, that's those.
John.
You good? John.
Because I felt like this past year, I felt like this past year, Booker, like he started out with a bang, and when he got hurt, people wasn't talking about him that much like they were. At
Yeah,
the
they
beginning
said
of the year.
Dame. They said Dame.
Dame. Lillard
Dame.
for the 2020s or 2010s?
2020s.
2020s too, right? Because I think he won a scoring title a couple years ago, right? Didn't
Can I get some love for Desmond Bain?
he?
No.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
You guys
Oh,
are
well,
committed.
I gotta go,
You
man.
guys are committed. All right,
All
Ralph,
right.
man. Listen,
All right,
we actually about to
G-Chat.
get up out of here soon too.
Yeah.
We done with the list. We just finishing up. Thanks,
All right.
Ralph. Man. That's Ralph Alexander 65. Y'all make sure to catch him on TikTok, and all his great content. Peace out to Ralph, man.
Let me see. There was someone who wanted to get on. We could try to get him on next week. Try to look for his name.
Yeah, I did see somebody
did you
did
see
pop
him?
up. I did see somebody pop
Some
up. saying-
Jester.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something like
Still
that.
on, but I mean, yeah, it was a great show, guys. Make sure you guys do hit the like button, subscribe. Shout out to Son of Abba, a member of the Goat James Kingdom membership. Please reach out to us, Son of Abba, at goatjameskingdom at gmail.com or goatjameskingdomshow@gmail.com, as we could talk about your perks for being a member. So again, y'all, we are going to be making graphs and videos for you guys. We have merch as well. Shout out to A Weezy Bang, who was in the comments as well. Y'all check him out. He has the same thing. Join his membership to be a part of the A Weezy Bang. He's a LeBron guy. He stay exposing people. Yeah, I can't see his name, Brandon. I don't know where he's at. I can't see him right now. A lot of comments. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Yeah, man. Great show, great show. So, hey, before we get up out of here, since we Brandon, I was talking with Craig about the like adjusting the list to help figure out how we can figure out who's a better player, and he was talking about, you guys were saying something about doing it by positions to a certain degree, or like try to value players for certain stats because of their positions.
Yeah, we talked about that, but yeah, I think it's just going to take a lot of deep diving to see what the best thing we could come up with. Because he's assists is valued more for a point guard than a center. So blocks is valued more for a center than a point guard as well. So there's certain things we got to value more for players, and we just need to all put our heads together and figure out how we're going to do that.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I think that's a good idea. I found it. His name is Mingled Jester, and if you're still here, you can get on the panel. We're gonna start putting the link up on for you guys in the chat so that you guys can just join, and Brandon will act accordingly and bring y'all up.
Yeah,
but I think
have to put at the first thing in the chat so they can always just go and look up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but to make a point with that, the only thing that I found out that was kind of a hard part about that is we know with guards, right, it's going to be steals and assists or in points. Power forwards, it's in centers, it's rebounding and blocks, right? But what do we do with the small forwards, since they're a versatile position, right? They're made to be everything, they're made to do everything. So How do we value what a shooting? A small forward does?
What about like this?
Mhm.
You got 1 through 5. That's positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So point guards get a lot of assists, so they get 1 point. All right. Now, if they get a block, they get 5 points. And if you're like, say, you're a center, all right, well, you get 1 point for a block, but you'll get 5 points for assist. And
You mean
on
point?
down there,
You mean
forward.
0.5? You mean 0.5, not 5?
Yeah,
No, 'cause
like
you-
accumulating your points that way. Yes.
Yeah, no,
Like a
because you
point
said
scale.
no, because you said yeah, no, that's what we were trying to say. Like, because I was thinking like to a certain degree, like what you were saying was for like you say a point guard, your assist would be 2 times valued, right? And then your steals would be 1.5 value because that's like what you do in your position. And then like for power forward, you would be 1.5 for your blocks and 2 points for your rebounds. You understand? Or times 2 for your rebounds. As far as that would accentuate
Well, like for a power forward, you'd get a 2 for your blocks and a 4 for your assists.
Yeah, but what we mean is like basically, so if you're saying you get 2 for your blocks, that means the guard will get only 1 point for the block, correct?
No, they get 5 points for their blocks.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big jump.
Yeah, that means you're
That's what
giving
I'm
them. You're giving
saying.
them. Yeah, no, that would
You're
be like
gonna
see,
give
like-
them an advantage. You're gonna get them an advantage for being a guard if it's times 5.
We want the guard to get recognized for what guards do, which meaning we
That's
have.
what I'm saying. Because now, like a 5 is high as you can get. 5 is as high as you can get.
Mhm.
So a center, when he gets a block, because they're known for blocks, he just gets 1 point. The guard will get 5 points for their blocks. Now the guard, because they're known for assists, they would get 1 point for assist, and a center would get 5 points for an assist.
Yeah, but that's basically trying.
That would make
you're
Jordan
doing the
like
opposite. You're doing
better.
the opposite of
Yeah,
what we're
you're
trying
doing
to
the
do.
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing
That
the
would make
opposite of what
Jordan
we're
the
trying to
like best block of all time because he 0.8 and that'd be like 4 and Hakeem's
What?
like 3.5.
Yeah,
So
Chad,
he'll
but
be
yeah,
like number 1 in
yeah.
blocks.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Chad, is to do the opposite. So they should get 5 points for the assist and 1 point for block if you're a guard, and you should get 5 points for blocks and 1 point for assist. That way, it accentuates what you did as a center because blocking is the most important part. It's more better than assists. So you see what I'm trying to say? So that's what they were trying to figure out. But again,
Well, I mean, are we
how do
gonna
you do
it
that?
by?
How do you do that for small
Yeah, I see what
forwards?
you're saying. So, I mean, I'm talking about where you're comparing a point guard to a center overall. But if you're talking about, center to center and point guard to point guard, then yeah.
Yeah. Now we're talking about how do we evaluate a player for being as good as they are, not just their career. Because what we did was an overall to judge their career where there was no advantages. But right now we want to give a player for being a guard. If you're a guard and you can pass the ball, that's really, really good. We should give you an advantage. We shouldn't grade your assist the same way we would grade a center's assists, because the center's assist doesn't really matter as much as, you know what I mean? Like to a certain degree, I get it. But how do you do the small forwards? Because small forwards do not have a one particular part of the game that we can say is their thing. Their niche is basically perimeter defense.
They're almost like a 3 across the board.
That's what I'm saying. But that would be an advantage now. So that means now every small forward automatically gets an advantage. If we did that,
I
you
mean,
know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna give every other position across the board the extra points for what they do. So like I said, this is like Brandon said, it's going to be a great conversation. It's going to take some time, but that is what we're working on. That is what we are working on. And Craig and I talked about it on Friday Night Exposure. You guys can check it out. Look at the show. It was just this past Friday. You was just there, Chad. You got in a little bit late, but that's the idea. So, but with no further ado, y'all, we're going to get up out of here. You got any last words, Brandon, before we go?
No, I'm good. Go ahead and get off. I gotta get to these kids.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Brandon.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You was gonna be on the show. You just had a baby, F this show. I'm gonna go with my baby.
You did? Congrats, man.
Brandon is committed to GOAT James Kingdom like a LeBron James fan should be. We're not Jordan fans. We don't quit.
I ain't quit. He'll come back. There's a hiatus.
but we are both going to kind of step back on posting and bothering you guys, obviously, because Brandon has things that he's taking care of. I want to enjoy my time right now because there's a lot of stuff I got going on as well. We'll still be trolling here and there, but you won't be seeing as much, as much as us as possible. Obviously.
We'll hold it down for you, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, let's go. We will be back next Sunday. Okay, we'll be back next Sunday. I won't be doing Friday Night Exposure for the next 2 Friday nights. I'll come back 3 weeks from now to do that. And then like I said, we'll keep going with football season. So again, y'all, thanks for joining us here. This is the GOAT James Kingdom Show with B. Lee and A. Johnny. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, like button, and the notification bell. Catch us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Shout out to everybody who's a member. Question is Friday show next Friday. No, we're not doing a Friday show this Friday, the 1st, and the Friday afterwards. I will not be doing a Friday Night Exposure show. So if you want to catch me, you can catch me on TikTok tomorrow. I'm gonna go live on TikTok tomorrow and talk more John Stockton talk, because y'all gotta stop disrespecting the slow white boy. He's the man. So
I had his back today, man.
huh?
I had John's back today.
Yeah, you was on point today, Travis. I didn't realize how much of a Kobe lover you was, man. No homo. You really like Kobe.
I don't know
Happens every now and
who told Travis what was going on, but he was prepared today. He had all the numbers.
So thanks to Craig, thanks to Travis, thanks to Chad, thanks to Ralph, as our usual GOAT James Kingdom panel. You guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy. We are out of here. Peace and blessings, folks.
See you guys.
Yeah, man.